In this lesson, I'd like to show you how to use some open hi-hat techniques to make your rock and funk groove sound a bit more interesting. So we're going to start with some basic exercises just to get that left foot moving so we can get some really clean, closed and open hi-hat sounds. The first exercise is just to play a series of eighth notes, the first of which is closed and the second which is open. So every two eighth note we're going to have an open hi-hat note. Let me play that exercise for you now, and then I'll speak a little bit more about it after I finish. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so it seems straightforward enough, but there's a few important points I've got to make here about the technique that I was using. The first is that I wasn't opening my hi-hat all the way up, which is about there. I was only lifting my foot just enough for the cymbals to vibrate and mash against each other. Any more than that and we get a really wide open sort of glassy sound that can be undesirable sometimes. Okay, so that's the most important point, just to be really subtle with your foot movements, just enough to allow that hi-hat to sizzle. Now the next point I want to make is regarding to the timing of when you open and close your hi-hat. The first note, which is a closed note, has to be, basically you want to close the hi-hat with that note. So your foot should come down onto your foot should press into the hi-hat pedal firmly at the same time basically that your stick strikes the hi-hat. Because if you close your hi-hat too early or late, you get an unclean sound. It sounds like you get almost two notes happening if you close the hi-hat too early. You'll hear the sound of the hi-hat closing and then you'll hear your stick hitting it. And if you close it too late, you get a sloppy note for the closed note. And so we just want that really clean open close sound. So your foot has to land exactly where the stick lands. Okay, that's the first point. The other is the timing of when your foot opens the hi-hat, because if you open the hi-hat too late, you may have already hit the hi-hat before the cymbals can vibrate freely. So you have to lift your foot just before the open hi-hat note. Let me demonstrate that by playing the rhythm really, really slow. Okay, so playing that exercise over and over is really going to help your technique when it comes to playing these open hi-hat grooves. The first groove we're going to play is a simple rock beat with that very same hi-hat exercise going on top of it. So it's just going to be the basic eighth note rock beat with kick on 1, snare on 2, kick on 3, snare on 4. You all played that before. And we're going to have that open hi-hat groove happening on every beat. Sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, that's a good rhythm to start because it gets your left foot in a regular rhythm of opening and closing the hi-hat. Let's move on to exercise 2, and from here I'm going to play all the rest of the exercises in 4 beat cycles and then go straight on to the next one. I'll see you at the end. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, there's a few more exercises I'd like to show you separately, and they're all based on a 16th note hi-hat feel. So the basic 16th note rock beat sounds like this. So we're going to use that basic feel, but throw in some open hi-hat variations to give it more interest. The first variation, you actually have to take those 16th notes and put both hands on the hi-hat and bring your right hand over to the snare for the backbeat, which without the open hi-hat would sound like this. And so what we're going to do is open the 3rd and 4th 16th notes for every beat. So your left foot will actually play in the same rhythm as the very first exercises, close, open, and it sounds something like this. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Now with the bass drum and snare drum parts added in, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Okay, the next exercise we actually play with only our right hand on the hi-hat again, and we play a broken 16th note rhythm that goes 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. So not the full 16th note subdivision, just the first 3 notes of every beat. Well, let me play that beat just by itself with the kick drum and snare drum with no open hi-hat at all. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Alright, so then we go ahead and open the hi-hat on all the offbeats, on all the and notes. 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and. So let me play that just on the hi-hat and then we'll play the full beat. 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and. Now with the full rhythm. 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson on open hi-hat beats. Make sure you really pay attention to how your hi-hat sounds when you're experimenting with your open and closed techniques, because sometimes it's the smallest difference in the pressure of your foot or the timing of when you open and close your foot that will make a really big difference in your grooves. So practice hard and I'll see you in the next lesson.